Hello guys and girls, in this tutorial we're gonna take a look at how to use the React Native navigation in 2020. So usually I write code and whoever wants to can write along, but for this case I've actually already written the code, so we just can't go through the code together. So I'm gonna leave the GitHub repo link in the description of this video. And it's just a simple React Native navigation starter template, which we're gonna use to get started here. So what you can do is go ahead and do a git clone of it, npm install and then npm start to start the application. You should probably use Node, a version bigger than 12 or equal to 12, and you also need Expo CLI to start this because it's a Expo React Native project. So just go ahead and download this repo here and you should be good to go. So as I said, we're gonna go through the code here together instead of writing everything. Possibly it makes it easier for you to understand and I can explain it better this way. So once you downloaded the project, go ahead and open up app.js. So this is the root component of the application, which is responsible for setting up the routes in the applications. And by the way, before we get started, we're going to touch a couple of key concepts of React Native navigation, such as navigating between screens, passing route parameters between different routes, and also take a look at app containers. So let's dive back into app.js. So this is the root component of the our application and responsible for setting up routes in the app. So here we just including some libraries. So we need React, we're also using Vue, text and button. We're also using something called create app container, which we're gonna go through later, and create stack navigator. We're also importing two components here, which are actually two screens in the navigation of the application. So the home screen, which is located here in the source folder in the file home.js, and also profile. So the profile screen also located in the source. So these two are what we're gonna use to navigate between, and these are just two regular components, as you can see, class-based React Native components. All right. We're gonna go through this later and take a look at what they do. So after that, we're creating something called a stack navigator using the create stack navigator method. So what this does is creates a stack of the routes we define. So the first route we define is gonna be the starting page of our application, always, all right? In this case, we're calling it home, and we're defining it, the screen to the home component. All right. The next is called profile, and we're defining the screen for the profile as the profile component. All right. And you could go ahead and just add more routes here like this, right? Another screen or whatever, as many as you like. All right. But for this example, we're gonna keep it like that. Right, so that creates a stack of the routes we want to use in our application. Then we're using this create app container method here, and we're passing in the stack navigator, which we are defining as the navigator in a constant, right? So we're passing in the actual stack of our routes into this method called create app container. And I've written a couple of comments here so you can easily understand it. It's responsible for managing app state and linking the top level navigator to the app environment, okay? So basically what that means, it creates an environment where we can use the routes we created in the stack navigator, all right? And we can share data between them and so on and so on. And lastly, we just do a default export of the app, which is now this app container, right? All right, so let's go ahead and open up home.js here, which is the home component of our application. So it's just a very simple view here with some simple styles I wrote for it just to make it easier to see everything. And then we get this button here saying go to profile screen. And when we press this button, we are navigating to the profile. So this screen right here, all right? Now, let's go up here. So for the navigation options here, let's us set the actual title of the header bar in the application, all right? So as you can see in the app to the right, it says home, and that's what we're setting right here, all right? Now this is basically the same as, usually you assign properties by using a constructor inside a class in JavaScript, right? So if we're using static, we don't have to use the constructor, all right? We can set the class property of navigation options like this, all right? So that's why it looks like this if you think it looks weird. So we're setting the title of the header bar to home. We're also accessing the navigate method here from navigation props, which is then of course passed from the parent, so app.js, right? And we're then using navigate to profile. Now what we're doing here on press is we're doing two things. We're navigating, but we're also passing parameters to the route called profile, right? So first off, we're navigating to the profile, and then we're passing this data to the route as well. So we're passing a property called name here with a value of Jane. So if we open up profile.js, change the syntax to Babel here, we can take a look at how we can access this, because this is quite a useful utility to use in a real-life application, right? Because you're gonna have to always pass data around between routes. So here we're using navigation options again, this time as an arrow function instead of just a static object, all right? And we're returning the title, and this time we're setting the title dynamically by calling navigation that get param, which get the parameter we're sending from home, the home app. So we're getting this parameter, right? So that's how we can access the parameters you're sending from another route inside the navigation options property of the class or the component, all right? So this will set the title of the header bar inside the profile screen to a value of the property name, all right? Then we go down here to the render method, and again we're calling navigate, so we can use the navigate method to navigate on the screen. We're also accessing the state here. Now the state is another way of actually accessing the parameters sent from another route component, all right? So in this case, we're using state.params.name. Now this is gonna be the exact same value as a navigation.getParam, right? But we can't access this in navigation options, right? Because it's a prop, and this is a static object, static property. So instead we're accessing it this way. Now, if you want to look at some different data sent from the navigation props, you can simply just do a console.log this.props navigation. Now, the way you access stuff here might change. This can be a good thing to know, how to debug this yourself and check the data you want to access. So if you do a console.log of the navigation props here, open up the command, let's see if we can get some data here. Yeah, so this is the actual data we're getting from the home application, right? The home component. All right, so you can see we're getting this object with a bunch of data here, and what we're interested in this case is the state here, right? Which we're using to access the parameters. you can see we got here params and then name. And the name is of course the parent we're setting from home. We can also access the route name here if we want to access that dynamically for some reason. Right? So that's how you can check some data, how you can access it yourself. Just a tip. And then again, we just got a simple view here in the profile component with some simple style sheets. And we're saying hello, which is going to be hello Jane, since we're passing the value Jane here. And as well as a button again. So go to home screen. So when we click this button, we're going to go back to the home screen. As you can see here on press. So navigate home, home being the value defined here, right? So the property basically is mapped to a component. All right. So that's it for how to use React Native navigation in a simple way in 2020. So just go ahead and you can download the Git repo and play with it. So thank you, and I hope you learned something. Bye bye.